I never lose, either I win or I learn. Those are my only options, to whomever it may concern. About to be a hot topic, play with fire, you get burned. Ain't nobody give me nothing, whatever I got, better I earn. I never lose, but I learn. I either win or I
Thank you for
learn.
listening to the Strong AF podcast.
This episode is brought to you by our Weight Loss Transformation Masterclass. After spending over 30 years of my life being obese and dealing with chronic constipation issues, I decided to get my certification in fitness, nutrition, and wellness to empower myself to lose over 70 pounds and keep it off.
Watching my brother and dad have a heart attack within weeks of each other, I knew I had to make a change, but I wasn't sure what to do. After researching and studying to get my certification in fitness, nutrition, and weight loss management, I was able to use this knowledge I gained to lose over 80 pounds and keep it off.
Now we're passionate about helping others to avoid the same mistakes that we made and changing the world through holistic health and wellness. So our approach is focused on mindset because overall health, including our mental health, means everything to us.
Imagine waking up with more energy than you imagined possible, no longer worrying about digestive issues and bloating.
We're here to show you how to ditch the fad diets and make small changes in your lifestyle, which will make a massive impact on your quality of life.
These are changes that you will be able to pass on for generations to come. Go to veganstrongandfit.com/masterclass today to sign up for your free masterclass and get started on a happier, healthier journey.
Welcome back to another episode of the Strong AF podcast. I'm Ashley.
I'm Yuri.
And today we have a very special guest, Ysaline Rozier. She is a French former insurance project manager turned into a full-time management coach. So I know if you're anything like me, I struggle with time management. And so I think that's why it's amazing that we have her on today, because she has helped an overwhelming amount of women master their time without stress and fatigue to be able to do what really matters to them. And she is strong and resilient because she never gives up when her objectives are not accomplished. So welcome. We are so glad to have you on.
Hello, guys. How are you?
Doing great. Thank you. I hope you are.
Terrific.
Yeah.
So how exactly did you get started into time management coaching, and how have your clients been able to benefit from this?
I mean, for me, time management was always a part of my life. I'm like you said, I have been like a project manager for big company for a couple of years. I have worked with a lot of clients, and I mean, like that's something that has always been here in my professional life and also at home, because I have a partner who doesn't like time management at all. So yeah, that's how I end up with this idea, because for me it was like a part of me, it was an evidence. And I actually help my client um, think about their life, think about what they're actually doing with their time and how to use it to live the life they always wanted. Because nowadays, like, we are running all the time after the time, and we don't have the time to do what really matters for us, to take the time to do, I mean, like, sometimes it's 1 hour of workout each day, or 1 hour of cooking if you like to cook. So my aim is really to help these people to live the life they want.
I love that so much. And I can relate when you say that your partner is not big on time management. Now, not about Yuri, but growing up,
I was wondering where you were headed with this.
So, no, growing up, my mom, she's always late for everything, and her time management skills are really suffering. And being the kind of person I am, I'm very much you have to be early to be on time, and I like everything planned out. I like my organizer planned out. So that kind of stresses me out to, have to work things around my mom. So how does that work out for you and your partner, since you're such opposites there?
I mean, like, I realized that I had a huge trouble with him when basically we went to the airport because we were going into a weekend, and he was looking at me 1 hour before telling me I forgot my passport. And I was like,
Oh
Oh,
okay, no, that's not gonna happen.
no.
And basically, he forgets all the time stuff. When he's like in travel for work, he forgets his computer at the hotel. He forgot like several stuff, like in the train, in like planes,
Oh.
like all the time. Where like I have to keep reminding him what to not forget about, like its credit card, everything.
Mhm.
So basically, we work like it took me actually quite a lot of year before to find something that actually really worked. So
Mhm.
now we have a planning system, or every time I think about something, I put it, and basically he has a notification on his phone, so I don't have to remind him every morning. Did you do that? Did you think about that? Did you forget that?
Mhm.
No, and that's really great.
Yes. How did he survive without you?
Oh, sorry, what did you
I
say?
said, how did he survive without you?
Oh yeah, no, actually, basically, he's someone that is actually, as you said, really different. So for him, when he forgot something and he realized he forgot something, is like, okay, that's my fault. So now I need to deal with it. But
Mhm.
when he's with me and we're like at the airport and he doesn't have his passport, I'm like, no, that's not possible. We need to do something about
Yeah,
it.
that's awesome. So, can you explain to our listeners, because I'm sure that there are so many out there, like your partner, like my mom, who, they kind of just live their life without planning. I don't, not without intention, but without planning and
just free
having a
flowing.
go, yeah, free flowing, not having that step by step goal for the day. And many times, what I see is that excuse of I don't have time pops up um, when we all have the same 24 hours in a day, right? So, what are some tips for people to really be able to structure their lives without overwhelming them and having to do everything at once?
Okay, so first, usually when people say they don't have the time, there is two meaning. So the first one, basically, it means I don't want to take the time, I don't want to make the time. For me, it's not a priority.
Mhm.
So these people are not committed to do something. The other meaning is I don't know what to do, I don't know where to start. That's why I'm saying I don't have the time. So these people need basically are lacking of a plan. So they just need a plan to know where to start and to achieve their goal. So that's what I'm doing. I'm actually speaking with these people and trying to find what is the root cause.
Mhm.
Why are they saying that they don't have the time? Because like you said, we'll all have the same amount of time like in a day. So it's just thinking about what you are doing with your time, like being intentional with your
Mhm.
time. And if you want to start by having the time, you need to analyze when you are actually spending your time. So one of the exercises I always do with my client is to take a paper and write everything that you do in a week, like hour by hour.
Mm.
It's like at the first it's really stressful because you need to track everything,
Mhm.
but after, once you have done that, you can realize where you are actually spending your time. You can see if there are some stuff that you can delegate, if there are some stuff that you are doing that you can actually eliminate. And you can see if your life is actually looking to what you really want to live. Because sometimes when you are looking at your life and you see things and you're like, no, that's not the life I wanted to do. I don't spend enough time for me. I don't spend enough time doing what I want. And uh, for some people, it's kind of a wake up call to see where they're actually spending their time. So once you realize that, you just need like to take action. See and look at the calendar and say, okay, so now here is here is a list of my objective. Here is a list of what I want to do, and how can I integrate it into my calendar, and how can I be committed? Because most of the time, people said at the beginning of the year, yeah, I really want to do
Mhm.
that. I really want to do that, but like after like 2 weeks, they just drop their
Yeah.
objective. And most of the time, they are dropping their objective because first, they are not realistic, and second, they don't have like a clear plan and sub deadline to implement it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when you try to reach an objective, you won't reach this objective from one day to another. It will maybe take months to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So for instance, if your objective is to do like a workout three times a week, for instance, for June, you will have to re-engineer it to see what is the plan that you want to do. So maybe in February you will try to do like 1 hour of workout each week. Maybe in March it will be 2 hours, but you will try to find like the right fit for you,
Mm-hmm.
and you will need to take it step by step and all the time be committed, because
Yes.
if you are missing some time, like I mean maybe one time, it's okay, but if you are missing like twice or more, you need to think about it and say, why am I not committed to do that?
Yes, that is great advice. And, that really plays into everything, right? I mean, it seems like such a simple thing to do, but the thing is, they get so overwhelmed by having to track this, and maybe not even overwhelmed, but sometimes we don't want to know where we're spending our time. And it's the same way with what we're eating and how we're spending our finances. Many times we don't look at how we're spending our money and how we're the calories that we're eating and the way that we're spending our time, because we don't really want to know. We don't really want to change that. And going through this exercise that you're talking about and being very mindful of the step-by-step what you're doing each day, that's going to bring to light a lot of changes that maybe they don't want to look at right now. And so that can be a little scary. So how do you talk your clients through that? Because I feel like that's a lot of mindset changes too.
It's a step-by-step process. So first is acknowledging that there is something that doesn't fit you. You don't want to be like that. You don't want to spend your day like that, because sometimes people doesn't realize. I mean, we're doing so much many stuff every day. Like I mean, clean the dishes, do the cooking. It's a lot of small stuff that are taking a lot of time in our day. So first, we try to integrate in their planning what they really want to do each week. So because like I said to my clients, like your life is not like a long list of tasks that doesn't bring you happiness. I mean, everything that you do, you need to have fun. You need to have fun in your life. You need to do some things that really matter, even if sometimes like we all have to clean the dishes and all this kind of stuff. But it's really integrated each week and say, okay, so what is the goal for each week? So basically, we are planning the week, and at the end of the week, we're like seeing together what worked, what didn't work, and we are planning the next week to see what can be implemented in the next week, which is better than the previous week. So basically, week by week, we are like achieving what they really want to live and what they really want to do.
I love that.
I can definitely speak for myself when it comes to planning. At first, I was hesitant to really get into the planning. It was more free flowing. And then as the tasks start piling up and you're frantically thinking, oh my goodness, how am I going to go about this? That's when it's like, okay, I have no choice. I definitely need to plan everything. And like we always tell our clients, if you're not planning, then you're pretty much planning to fail, because you have to go about a certain way if you want to accomplish all these tasks you have. So that's definitely big planning.
And another thing I really like that you called out too is, if your end goal is, like you said, working out 3 times a week by June, then you want to work your way up to that. And it's the same thing with weight loss. So your weight loss goal may be 50 pounds, 100 pounds, and that seems so overwhelming, when you're sitting there starting off. But you have to break up that goal into smaller achievements. That way you can hit those milestones and it doesn't seem so overwhelming, because again, it's always that mindset, right? We get into those mental blocks where we're like, oh, that's just too much. I can't do all of that. There's no way I can fit all of this into my schedule. There's no way I can lose that much weight. There's no way I can save that much money. Whatever your goal is, that end goal seems just so unreachable and unattainable in the beginning. But if you break it up and you work at that little by little, then it's like, oh, okay, I can easily hit this goal. And then after you hit that, you're like, okay, yeah, I already did that. Like, I got this next one. And before you know it, you're at your end goal.
Yeah, that's true. And actually, like a lot of people, especially the one who are free flowing, are basically at the beginning telling me, yeah, but if I'm planning everything, I'm lacking of freedom. I
Mm-hmm.
won't have my freedom. And that's why I'm trying to say to my client, it's not because you plan things that basically you are lacking of freedom. It's totally the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you know that everything is planned and everything is going to go your way and you won't have to think about everything because you know in some way everything will be handled, you will have the time, you will have the free of mind to do whatever you want, and you won't have to spend all the time to everything. And even
Mm-hmm.
sometime, like some of my clients, when they are sleeping, they are still thinking about the
Yes.
stuff they didn't do during the day, and they're like, oh, I forgot to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So no, for me, like planning is really having the freedom to do what you really want to do with your life, and it's not a lack of freedom.
Yes. I have always had, like, since I was younger, very anxious person. So I've had panic attacks, from stress and just whenever things aren't organized and I just feel overwhelmed, I do get those panic attacks, those anxiety attacks. And so I think because of that, I learned at a very young age that I have to plan out my day, because that helps take away that stress. Because if I know what's getting done, it's more that unknown and not knowing what the outcome is going to be and how my day is going to end up. So if I plan out, my stress level goes down and everything around me, like my energy just kind of calms down. And that really helps me.
Yeah, it's because basically you were like quieting your mind, because most
Mm-hmm.
of the time why we are stressed, we have a lot of anxiety, it's because we are thinking a lot of stuff. We have a lot of stuff in our head. And
Mm-hmm.
one great exercise is basically when you think that your mind is going all the way, just take a piece of paper and write everything down. Because the fact of writing everything down, you will feel like less heavy and you will be able to
Mm-hmm.
feel better.
Yes, I think that's a great tip because I think many times, and I've been guilty of this too, that we try to ignore it when we get stressed out. It's like, okay, well, if I just ignore it, it'll go away or I'll feel better because I won't be thinking about it. But it's still in the back of your mind. And until you get that out of your mind and, like you said, writing it down or just speaking it out loud or whatever it is for you to get that out of your head, then it's still going to be sitting there and it's still going to be causing you stress and anxiety.
It's one of the things I do that I'm real great about. Like I could be having a conversation with somebody, and all of a sudden it's like I have a light bulb moment where I have to hold on. Let me pull out my phone. Let me go to one of my notes. Let me type this in here before I forget it. And then later on, I start thinking, what was that I was wanting to do? And then I pull out my phone and go to that note. Okay, there it is. That's what I was looking for. Because otherwise, it just would have been lost. And I probably would have woke up in the middle of the night, like you were saying. Just now I know what it is. It's too late now. Definitely.
Yeah, that's something that happened to a lot of my clients. And like you said, use your phone. There is a lot of app. Like, I mean,
Mm.
like you can use like the note, you can use Trello if you want to put your card with everything you want to do. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, today there is a lot of solution to just release your mental load to feel like way much better.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And there's even voice apps. So I know a lot of people don't like to text or make notes, but you can do voice recordings and save those for yourself as well. Whatever works for you. I mean, people manage their selves differently, but at the end of the day, it all comes out to the same result.
Exactly. You're
Yeah.
totally right.
Now, I love talking to you not only because of your amazing time management skills and how much that's going to help our listeners, but also because we kind of have a similar background. So before wonderful COVID hit, we were both in the travel business. And after that, it kind of took a turn, and that business ended for us. And just kind of out of nowhere, we decided to begin our fitness and nutrition journey. And that was really a change that we made for our personal health, which then became a business for us to help others. And you also started in the travel industry and kind of had the same difficulties in the beginning. So tell us about that, your travel that you were working with, and then how that kind of got turned around for you and led you to where you are now.
Okay, so I'm a big traveler. I have lived 2 years abroad. I have traveled in a lot of country. I love traveling. Traveling is really my stuff. And actually, my partner is living in Budapest. And when we arrived in the city, like I didn't know the city before I actually visited it, and I really fall in love with the city. Budapest is really unknown to the world, and it's really a city to visit, like in Europe. If you didn't do it, you should do it someday because really it's really amazing. So I tried to build my business in tourism like in December 2019, so
Mm-hmm.
before COVID hits, because what I realized is that Budapest was one of the city which was experiencing mass tourism, and I really wanted to offer like a unique experience because this city has a lot to offer to people, and most of the people who were actually coming here were not seeing the right stuff, and I wanted to show them like the secret of the city. So I was really helping people build a unique trip into the city.
Mm-hmm.
So that was amazing. But yes, like you said, with COVID, it was a bit complicated. At first, we all thought COVID was into our life just for a
Yeah.
few months.
Mm-hmm.
And then last year, Hungary decided to close the border. And border are still closed, by the way. So it has been more than 6 months right now.
Wow.
And so I decided to put my business on hold because no tourists, no tourists, so no possibility to do something with my business. And what was really complicated, it was not to get into the time management business because I
Mm-hmm.
mean, traveling and time management have been part of my life for since the beginning. So for me, it was an evidence. But what was really complicated was to say, okay, I've put so much effort into something,
Mm-hmm.
and now I need to start again. And start again was really complicated because I knew what it was going to be. It was going to be complicated. But when you think about it, you say, okay, every day, one step, one goal each day,
Yeah.
and you make it. And at the beginning, I was like, yeah, it's going to be complicated, it's going to be hard. And day by day, it become easier. And now I'm really happy. It's working really well. And one thing I can tell to people is like to never give up.
Mm-hmm.
It's, I mean, like COVID is still like here, and if I did it, I mean like everyone can did it. You just need to persevere. You just need a lot of a lot of motivation, a
Yeah.
strong will, and you can like make anything happen.
Yes, exactly. We kind of felt the same way when we were going through this because we had spent long nights up, working late on this because we both have a full time job aside from our business. And so it's like, you get home, you take the kids to their sports or whatever, pre COVID. You take the kids to their sports, and then you're up late after the kids go to bed, working and getting everything set up. And you put all this time into it, you put all this money into creating your business. And then all of a sudden COVID hits, and it's like, oh my gosh, what do we do now? Because you don't want to let that go, but at the same time, like you have to move on, and you have to keep going. So it was a struggle for us to kind of get back that motivation and that determination to really start our new business, because it was like, man, after everything we did before, and you have those doubts creep into like, what if this fails? What if this doesn't work? All this what ifs that you keep running through your mind. And it's like, no, okay, just we've got to stop asking what if, and we just have to do this.
Yeah, like you said, like massive action, like every day do something to
Mm-hmm.
get to your goal and to get it work, and one step at a time. This is really the key that I can tell to anyone who wants to implement like a new project in their life,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's like a new company, whether it's like a new activity. Just take it one day
Yes.
at a time and one step at a time, and it will work. There is no reason that it cannot work.
Right.
Like I always tell people when they ask about, well, are you still doing the travel thing and stuff like that? I always think, looking back on it now, since they say hindsight is 2020, I think that we were in it for the wrong reason.
Mm-hmm.
We looked at traveling as more of a financial goal, or more of, once as we're growing, we're going to be traveling even more, and that's going to fund these trips and vacations for the family and stuff like that. So I just think we started that all for the wrong reasons. But with COVID, I also think it's going to be weird to say, but it's sort of like a blessing in disguise, because that made us slow down and change everything, pretty much our whole lifestyle. It
Mm-hmm.
made us change our eating habits, because we were going to these places, eating all this extravagant meals and stuff like that, while blogging about it and stuff like that, and getting free visits to these places and stuff like that. But with COVID and us changing our lifestyle, that pretty much opened our eyes to the way we need to live.
Mm-hmm.
And we focus on changing other people's lives. Just our purpose changed. Instead of financially, it became more of, how can we help other people who may not know what foods to eat, and maybe how to benefit their lives and live happier, healthier lives. So that was big for us.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, like sometimes change is like it's not a bad thing, it's a good
Right.
thing. Even if we have like every human is scared of change, like
Mm-hmm.
changing it's not simple. But I mean, like you said, you had to change something, and now we got a bigger purposes to do like every day. Like I mean, even me today, I'm helping more women that I ever did before with my travel businesses. Even if I love to travel
Right.
and love to help people getting some good tips. I mean, today I can say I have a real big impact on the life of this woman.
That's wonderful. And like you said, it is hard to change. And as humans, we resist change because it's new, it's scary. We immediately fall into that fight or flight syndrome, and we just back down. And the thing is, though, that once you start implementing these changes and you do take that massive action, it gets easier. It's not as scary to make changes in your life. Like when we started off, we would sit there and debate about it for like months and not make a change, because we were scared. It was like, okay, but what if I do this? But what if this happens? But what if this happens? And you think of all this stuff. And when you just step into it and make that change, and yes, sometimes it's not going to go the way you plan. But when you just step into it and make that change, then the next time you're faced with those types of situations, it's easier to make that change and to take that step. So, I mean, like you said, this year we've made so many adjustments to our lives, including pulling our son out of public school, and he's now being homeschooled. Um, it's just amazing at how quickly we're now able to make those decisions because we've changed our state of mind. Do you find the same thing?
Yeah, like exactly like you said, a lot of people spend like a lot of time thinking about something. Like, I mean, that's one of the biggest saboteur of some people, like being like a perfectionist. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, wanted everything to be perfect, but every time you want everything to be perfect, then you actually aren't taking no action because
Mm-hmm.
it's never perfect enough.
Right.
And and it's the same when you are not sure, you are all the time thinking about it, and you just need to take the step and see where it will lead you, because sometimes it will lead you somewhere totally unexpected, and
Yes.
you will be really happy of the outcome, but you cannot know what can be the outcome if you didn't take the decision to take it and to go for it.
Right. Exactly.
I definitely think people they're not comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And with messy action, that's when, like you say, you just do something, you're out there, put yourself out there, make yourself vulnerable, and you pretty much see what you're made of. As long as your mind's focused on the right thing, the outcome is going to be glorious. Because, like you said, with fear, everybody's afraid of something, whether it be taking this chance or stepping outside of the normal thing. You don't want to seem weird or an oddball or something like
Mm-hmm.
that. But once you step out on fear, that's the same thing. That is the thing that makes people courageous. It's courage. It takes courage to do something different or do something from the norm. So, yes, it's big.
Yeah, that's really true. But the first step to all of that is to be conscious. If you
Mm-hmm.
are not conscious that you need to change something into your life, or if you are not conscious that something it's wrong, it doesn't fit you, you cannot you cannot think about it and take action about it. So, when my biggest advice is to say to people, if you feel something is wrong, just think about it and try to
Mm-hmm.
find what is the cause, and then take action and have the courage to do something about it.
Exactly. Intuition is real. It's a real thing, but we often pretend like that's not there, or like, oh, maybe I'm just, like we try to put it off as something else. But our intuition is real, and if we just listen to that, like we know when something's off and something's not right and something doesn't fit us, and we know ourselves better than anyone else, right? So you can't sit there and I mean, it's great to have people provide their opinions and their what they believe, and have that kind of free flowing communication. But at the end of the day, you have to listen to yourself and your own body and understand what makes you happy, what makes you comfortable, and what works for you.
Yeah, that's really true. I mean, that's totally true.
Like, we have had a wonderful conversation with you today. I want to know more, though, about how our listeners can get a hold of you and work with you.
Today there is two things. One thing is that for the month of February, I will offer a free hour of coaching session with me, so they can book it if they want it. It's totally free, no engagement. It's just to talk together and to see how I can help them. And the second thing is I'm all hosting a 6 weeks time management program when I actually help women really find time to do what they love, reduce overwhelm, stress, anxiety. So if they want to know more, they can contact me.
Wonderful. Can they find you at?
My website is Ysaline Rozier. Oh, it's my name and my surname, but I will be able to put the link if they need it. I know
Yeah,
it's a
I'll
bit
put it in the show
complicated.
notes for you.
Yeah, for
Definitely.
sure.
Awesome. Well, we will definitely include all of that so our listeners can find you, because that is amazing information that you can help them with to get their time management on track, and just be able to really live the life that they're looking for. We do have some rapid fire questions for you before we
Oh, go
go.
ahead.
So we have to tie in our fitness and nutrition a little bit here. So these are your preferences: weights or cardio?
Cardio,
And favorite fruit?
passion fruit.
I've never had. Well, have I had passion fruit?
I think so.
Maybe in a smoothie.
Hmm.
I will have to try that.
Yeah, it's a purple, and you cut it in twice, and add inside you have a lot of small seeds.
I've
It's
definitely never had a fresh one.
Hmm.
If anything, I've only had it frozen. I've never been able to find a fresh one.
yeah, that's really awesome. I like it.
I'm gonna have to try that now. Favorite vegetable?
Broccoli.
Yes.
In my head, as soon as you said it, I was like, okay, I know what it's gonna be. And you said broccoli because that's pretty much just about everybody's favorite.
No, I mean, I really love. We have a lot of vegetables in Europe, so I eat actually a lot, but I really love broccoli, to
Mhm.
be honest.
Favorite comfort food?
Let's say chocolate.
Yes. And what is the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear the word vegan?
Without meat.
Yes. And most importantly, where do you get your strength from?
I will say my parents, because I mean they are a model of like resilience. They have always worked really hard, and they have always done some things that they really love to do in their life. And that was really an example for me, because like nowadays we are all running after the time. Even when we are working, we are running after the time. And it was really something that inspired me to do something with my life which is like meaningful and help other and makes me happy every day when I woke up.
That's
Awesome.
amazing. I love that. Thank you so much for coming on. We have had such a wonderful time talking with you today.
Thank you very much for hosting me. It was really a pleasure to speak with you.